Oshiete Galko-chan is an anime about the realest shit of 2016. It also happens to be one of my favorite anime of the year, and today I'm going to take some time to explain to the idiots over on my anime list and the anime database some of the reasons why. That's right, once again I'm here to correct a great injustice in the anime world and reveal unto you the not particularly well-hidden depths of a show that so many have nonetheless missed, and you know what to do to show your appreciation. Oshiete Galko-chan, or Teach Me Galko, is a show about a group of 3 fembros as well as their classmates, family, and friends, as they explore some of the deep philosophical questions of our time. That's a fucking lie. Before going any further, we need to take a moment to discuss the names of Galko and the other characters, as they are crucial to a full understanding of the show. Because you see, every character in the show is named for the stereotypical term that describes what their character archetype appears to be. If you're not a totemo jouzu ni nihongo de hanasu no hito like me, you might not be familiar with them, but these are all common Japanese terms. So let's break them down, and you'll see that these go far beyond anime's general propensity to name characters after puns into the realm of pure meme. Our main character Galko's name, first of all, is actually pronounced gyaru-ko, combining the term gyaru with the suffix ko, meaning girl. The term gyaru actually does stem from the English word gal, but nonetheless, a gyaru in Japanese culture refers to a type of woman who adheres to a very specific fashion sense and lifestyle. Typical features include bright, unusual hair colors such as blonde, tan skin, heavy makeup, long fake nails, and girly clothing. They are thought to be show-offy, brash, flirty, and often downright slutty. You know, the qualities of a perfect woman. Her 2 friends' names, Otoko and Ojo, derive from otaku, the well-known term for hobby-obsessed weirdos, typically regarding anime or video games, and Ojo, or Ojo-sama, meaning young lady or young mistress, often used for the daughters of families that are rich, well-respected, or have some other strong influence over their communities. This extends to the other characters as well, who have names that literally translate to things like sports, class president, and meat. Now, in case you aren't aware, all of these terms describe common character archetypes in anime, which you would naturally assume to be the case here as well. But that's where Galko begins to distinguish itself as a show. The episodes are framed around questions that have been asked to Galko and the other characters and show their responses to them. They are usually of a sexual or extremely personal nature and always hilarious. Beyond the titillating nature of the questions, however, we see that Galko's responses to them show her to be genuinely kind-hearted and modest, contrary to what her appearance would suggest. For example, in this scene where we're being introduced to Galko, she has once again shown up late to school looking exhausted. Combining this with her appearance, all her classmates assume she was out sucking and fucking the night away, but in truth, she was actually just up late watching anime, like a real American, and just isn't much of a morning person, even when she goes to sleep on time. These kind of situations occur constantly throughout the show, and all of them illustrate how the people around Galko who don't really know her have formed an impression of her that fits the gyaru stereotype based on their own assumptions. But the truth is that she's a sweet, innocent girl who dresses like the big sister she admires, loves cooking and watching TV, and whose greatest dream is to be a mother. Who also has an incredible rack. Thick as fuck, dog! Wife material! Similarly, Otoko is in fact an otaku, something she doesn't deny, but that's only when it comes to literary works. She's not the typical anime-obsessed fujoshi you might think she is. And Ojo, despite her prim and proper appearance, is in fact a fucking idiot. But she's cool. Now the great thing is, because these expectations have been set up for us by the show, it encourages us to expect characters to deviate from the archetypes they appear to encapsulate at first glance. So now when we meet a new character who appears to adhere to one, we're gonna start to wonder what quirk they're gonna have that defies that stereotype. And you know what that's called? It's called treating them like real fucking people. And really, a large part of what the show is about is diving deep into the character of Galko and seeing what a wonderful human being she is as opposed to the shallow girl she's perceived to be by some, like in this scene. Look at my brother here, being shit on by these fucking chads for loving him some anime, but then Galko comes to the rescue when she shows sincere interest in the show, and now these fuckboys are thinking about how they can get in on it too so that they can get closer to Galko. Or how about in this scene, where Galko not only buys this little dude a snack when he's lost his wallet, but when some of the cunty girls from his class give him shit for coming to the pool with his mob, Galko gives him mad street cred by running up all, "You fucking with my man? Real women have curves, bitch! She has weaponized thickness for the forces of good!" And there are tons of scenes where she thoughtfully pays attention to little problems her classmates are having and offers to help however she can. Like when she gives a little attention and fashion advice to an antisocial classmate and ends up basically curing his fucking depression. She just goes around making the world a better place, and everyone falls in love with her because she is such a genuinely thoughtful and wonderful person. Alright guys, what do you say we do an exercise real quick? Let's take for example, Galko, Otoko, and Nikuko, the god on two legs speed demon herself, Sonic Meat. What did you think of each when you first saw them? I can admit that my first thoughts were to want to A, fuck her, B, give her a swirly, and C, share her lunch cause I know she's got the good shit. But those are based on entirely superficial appraisals, cause now I know I want to do all three of those things to IINCHOU! Yeah, that's right, I'm into the weird shit. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea to make judgments based on a first impression. It's been a very useful tool for humans for millennia, but with these characters, with just a tiny bit of investigation, you can find out all kinds of things about them that blow away many of the assumptions we might have made about them, which is something many of us could afford to do more in our daily lives. If you were to harshly judge someone like this girl based solely on a first impression, you could miss out on having a wonderful, thoughtful friend in your life, and it would be your loss. So make sure you've got an open mind next time you meet someone like, what was her name again? After watching Galko again recently, one thing I couldn't shake from my mind was the similarity to one of my favorite movies, The Breakfast Club. The movie tells a story of 5 kids from different social cliques forced together for one day of detention. At first, they find each other totally unrelatable and are unsympathetic to each other's troubles, which, like most people's, are deeper than they first appear. But after hitting some of that good old ganj and talking about some real shit, they begin to see through the labels they put on each other over the years and understand what makes the others tick, and they ultimately become friends. Galko shares many themes with this story, but most poignant of all is the scene in the last episode that shows how Galko and Otoko first met. Since the first episode, it's been repeatedly pointed out how strange it seems for these two to be friends. But of course, that's based on a blind assumption, and here, we finally learn the history. Looking at the two together, it would be easy to assume that someone with the beauty Galko has wouldn't have been interested in befriending some ragamuffin fuckboy like Otoko here. But as it turns out, when they first met at the start of the school year, Otoko was the shallow one between the two. She had assumed based on appearance that Galko was a vapid bitch unworthy of her friendship. And when Galko makes a genuine attempt to reach out to her, Otoko calls her a fucking slut to her face, like a total cunt. She sees Galko getting along with the beautiful people and thinks that there's no way she could ever be real friends with her, because she assumes that she's just a fucking normie. Is this touching any nerves out there? I know I'm guilty of doing this, and more than a little bit. What Otoko is demonstrating here is a social defense mechanism. It's designed to prevent her from getting hurt by rationalizing reasons to avoid trying to befriend people and therefore avoiding the possibility of being rejected. It boils down to an attitude of sour grapes. Of course I'm not going to be friends with Galko. She's obviously a disgusting slut and a total bitch. There's no way she could ever get me. I mean, just look at her. But that is what makes Galko special. She doesn't make these kind of assumptions about other people. She sees right through the social constructs of these cliques and sees people as, well, just people, with their own needs, histories, and issues. That's why when she sees Otoko in serious trouble, seriously, how the fuck do periods even work? I have no idea. She immediately jumps in to help her, despite how Otoko had treated her up to that point. And that allows the friendship between them to begin to take shape. This is the same message we saw in The Breakfast Club. That movie showed how a group of kids from different cliques could eventually find common ground through which they could relate to each other, and even form deep connections. But Otoko skips that step and shows us a character with the ability to do that from the start, and even help pull antisocial people out of the dark little bubbles they can form around themselves. Guess people do a lot of maturing in high school. Who knew? What both of these stories illustrate is the stripping away of the oversimplifying labels that it's all too easy for us to attach to each other. Once you've done that, and you really begin to analyze the complex web of motivations as to why people act the way they do, that is when it is easiest to form real human connections between ourselves. And on a practical level, if you don't understand why people do what they do, you won't be able to reason with them if their actions cause some kind of conflict. It's empathy, the ability to see the world from the perspective of other people that allows us to understand the real problems of the people around us so we can solve them and make the world we all share better for everyone. So remember, even if you're a gyaru, an otaku, an athlete, a weirdo, a goddess, or a fucking idiot, you don't need to let those labels dictate how you live your life or the relationships you can form. And, my boys, the next time you see that cute girl you've always wanted to talk to, give it a shot, because maybe she's into Chinese finger paintings too. Sincerely yours, the best guy ever.